that we've created a basic script, let's see how debugging works in WDG Studio. We use the same script we created before, but now let's try adding a few more steps to it. After filling out all the data input fields and pressing both buttons, let's try obtaining the value from the output field and store it in a variable. First, let's clean the Studio console output. This is the hello from that first log message we inserted into the script at the beginning of the last video. Now we need to start the recorder again so we can map the output field from the test app and use the getValue command to get the value contained in the output field and store it in a variable. We'll name this variable as output value. Now let's close the test app and go back to the studio. We can already see the getValue command at the last line of the script. Let's use the log message command again to demonstrate the value stored in the variable on the Studio console output. We can simply copy the log message command we used before by right-clicking on it and then clicking copy, or left-clicking on the command and then pressing Ctrl+C. Then we'll right-click on the getValue command and then click paste, so we can paste the command we previously copied right after the getValue command. Alternatively, we could also use the Ctrl+V hotkey. Now we'll double-click this new log message command we just pasted in order to configure it. You can configure and reconfigure any command you already inserted into the script by double-clicking on it in the designer mode. Let's erase this hello and type in output value. We can then click the button on the right to choose which variable to insert here. The value contained in the variable will be concatenated with whatever we write here. Now before executing this script, let's insert a few breakpoints here. We can insert a breakpoint by left-clicking right to the left of the line number we want the breakpoint to be at. In order to remove a breakpoint, you simply need to left-click it. We'll leave a breakpoint at the first and the last setValue commands, as well as the getValue command. We will now execute the script, and since now we want to actually debug it, we will simply click the Start button. Oh, but wait, we forgot to stop the recorder. Whenever you try starting a script before closing the recorder, WDG Studio will prompt you to close the recorder and start executing the script or not. Since that's exactly what we want to do now, we'll click on Yes, and the recorder will close so the execution can start. As you can see, the execution has reached the first breakpoint, and now WDG Studio is waiting on our decision to continue. You can see the debug commands to the top left of the screen. Let's click on Continue and see what happens. Now the execution has reached the second breakpoint. As you can see, all the input fields have been filled out except for the last one, the birthday field. Let's click on Continue again so the execution can proceed. Now that we've reached our last breakpoint, we need to check something out. To the right of the script, we can see the Globals window. On this window, we can see the value is stored inside each individual variable of the script at that exact point during the execution. As you can see, the output value variable is still null. There is nothing stored in it. Now instead of using the Continue button, we will use the Step Into button. This way, the execution will proceed into the next command, but it will not proceed to the end of the script. Now that the getValue command has been executed, we can see that the output value variable is no longer null, since the getValue command obtained the value stored in the output field from the test app and stored that in this variable. Now if you finish the execution, we can see that exact same value displayed on the Studio console output, along with the hello from the first log message command. That about covers the very basics of debugging in WDG Studio. On the next video, you'll see how to publish scripts using WDG Studio, as well as checking for already published scripts.